Everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of Will a Wonderful World. So we have a new one from Wen Zhaoren called Regret. Oops, there you go. The rain kept pouring down with no sign of stopping anytime soon. I carried Li Wen on my back to the ranger's cabin on top of the hill. She had already fallen asleep. Due to the danger of a potential landslide, the park rangers had evacuated earlier. I laid her down on the only bed in the cabin and tried to cover her up with some sheets. Yet I noticed something strange. I felt her forehead. It was a little too warm. Fortunately for us, there was some medicine and a few bottles of water in the cabinets. I tried to get her to take the pills. She leaned on my shoulder and mumbled half-consciously in her dream. And then I heard her say, "Father." I walked to the door and sat on the steps while staring at the rain. I had planned to travel to some new place where no one would know me and spend my final days there. I had even asked Yang Yang to watch over this kid on my behalf. I had thought that I could let this all go. Yet the gods had made me run into her again here. God, haven't you toyed with me enough? When will you stop? Yang Yang had mentioned that Li Wen's father was a painter, and that he had passed away due to a heart problem. He sounded just like me. Was that why she had been so close to me? If so, what about how I feel about her? Ever since she had first come into my life, I had been paying extra attention to her. This is kind of pedophilic, but alright. At first, I thought it was just out of curiosity. But lately, that feeling seemed to have evolved in some way. When I had been in the hospital, I would often catch myself thinking about her without realizing it. I kept telling myself that it would never happen. After all, there had only been one person in my heart. The first day after I had gotten out of the hospital and gone back to school, I didn't see her in my class. During my lectures, I kept losing my thoughts, until I saw her passed out at the back door of the classroom. I had no time to worry about other people staring at us. I carried her out of the school, but I couldn't catch a cab. I had to run all the way to the hospital with her on my back. Maybe that was the moment when I started feeling something more. Or maybe it had been there even earlier. When our pictures had been posted on the school forum, I had intentionally avoided her. When I walked past her, I knew she was staring at me. And I felt like the most horrible and stupid person in the entire world. So that might have been the moment. But maybe not. It wasn't. No. I shouldn't even be thinking about all this. She and I, it was never going to happen. The night kept getting darker and darker. The rain kept falling. And I was still sitting at the doorstep. I felt like I was dissolving into the rain and the night. I suddenly heard someone calling me from behind. When she sat herself up on the bed, but looked away the second that she saw my eyes. "Mr. Wen, I've always liked you." I stood there, thinking that I must have heard it wrong. "I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have said it. You're my teacher, and I must have made you very uncomfortable. But I couldn't hold it in any longer. If I didn't tell you, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. I'm sorry, Mr. Wen. I'm so sorry." Her hands were clenching the sheets tightly. I want to be with you." I pushed her. She began crying and ran towards the door. She just ran out into the evening rain. By the time I realized it, I could not see her anymore. Earlier, after hesitating for what felt like forever, I had told her the cruelest thing. "I'm sorry, I can't be with you." I remembered her expression when I had pushed her to the ground. She must have thought that I had been disgusted by her. But how could I ever feel that about her? The only person that had been disgusting was me. I was so scared. I had no idea what I would mean to her if I crossed that line. Her lover? Her father? Or just a pathetic dying cancer patient? I held my flashlight and began aimlessly searching for her in the rain. I almost slipped a dozen times. And when I realized that she might have slipped and fallen down, I hated myself even more. Before I knew it, it was daylight. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun had come out. The first ray of sunlight broke through the clouds and sprinkled upon her body lying in the valley. She was so calm, so beautiful, and so still. She was not even breathing. I held her cold body in my arms. I felt like I had lost the whole world again. When's Auron? Okay, let's not let Li Wen die. How about? Alright. And ran towards the door. Maybe we'll say it to her. I ran into the evening rain and could not bear to look back. Earlier, after hesitating for what felt like forever, I had told her the cruelest thing. I'm sorry I can't be with you. I remember her expression when I pushed her to the ground. She must have thought that I had been disgusted by her. But how could I ever feel that about her? The only person that had ever been disgusting was me. I was so scared. I had no idea what I would mean to her if I crossed that line, her lover, her father, blah, blah, blah. I walked past 2 slopes. I found myself arriving at the spot where I had spread the ashes of my fiancé. I hadn't even realized that I had been going this way. We had seen the most beautiful rainbow in the world here together once. Honey, I'm so sorry. The freezing rain kept falling on me. It seemed to be getting even heavier. She wouldn't be out looking for me, would she? The thought suddenly entered my mind. The rain was so heavy, and the mountain could be dangerous for this weather. If she came out here by herself and something happened to her, like what happened before, I couldn't stop feeling worried, and I began to regret running out of the cabin. I must go back immediately. But the gods decided to toy with me one last time. When I turned around, I stepped into a puddle of mud and slipped. I lost balance and rolled down the hill into a completely dark abyss. Okay, not that one. She began crying. I pushed her. She just ran into the evening rain. By the time I realized it, I couldn't see her anymore. Her words had broken my last sensible defense earlier, and I had done something unforgivable. She had been looking at me, terrified. I held my flashlight and began aimlessly searching for her in the rain. I almost slipped a dozen times. And when I realized that she might have slipped and fallen down, I hated myself even more. Why? Why on earth would I do something like that? Before I knew it, it was daylight. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun had come out. The first ray of sunlight, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, still no. Okay, we don't want to push her. Okay, here we go. We got music this time. I couldn't simply ignore her existence any longer. And I couldn't ignore my true feelings either. She was so pure, so kind. She was a gift from God. I didn't want to hurt her. But I couldn't help myself anymore. Oh. I reached out to her and held her in my arms as tight as I could. I kissed her forehead. I kissed her cheeks. I kissed her lips. I undressed her. I kissed every inch of her body. She's like 17. Her long hair dripped over my arms and fell onto the bed. Her pale body was glistening with the warm light from the candles. She was trembling beneath me. My soaking wet shirt had been stuck to my skin, but it was becoming boiling hot with our body heat. Our two heartbeats were pounding, racing, and becoming one. The rain kept falling, but the world outside did not concern us, not one bit. Not for a long while. The rain had finally stopped, and the sun had come out. The first ray of sunlight came through the window and fell upon her long, soft hair. I gently kissed her forehead. The rest of my life belonged to you now, and I would live it well for you. Alright, well, there we go. That's that. Can we see that you are now in a relationship with her or something? Resigned from the school, diagnosed with stomach cancer, robbed. Okay. So we've got everything but this last one here. Trespassed on the Shillong Mountains while it was closed due to landslides. No charges were pressed by the park rangers. Hospitalized due to acute gastritis. Passed out of school. Okay. And we've got Jimmy. Had his first encounter with a psychotic serial killer, Pi. Had his first encounter. Oh dear, he's gonna see him many more times. That's not good. Alright. Unverified rumors about molesting boys in the street were published in a gossip magazine. You are Pi. Settled down and lived in Hong Kong. Okay, well, we don't get to see this, though. Have we finished all of the things with you? Yeah, you really didn't have a whole lot going on, did you? Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.